Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is Richard for WELSHYTECH, and today we have the ENERMAX LIQMAX IV 360 AIO. Should you buy it? Let's find out, shall we? Okay then, so this is the LIQMAX 360 all-in-one liquid cooler. This is from ENERMAX, big thank you to them. Now, let's get this out of the packaging and have a look what's inside. Okay, so first of all you get the user manual. Then of course then you do get through here. Now you get all the cables, you do get all the mounting brackets you need for AM4, AM5 as well as Intel as well. And of course then you do get the cooler itself. So let's get this out now and we'll have a look. Okay, so here is the actual AIO. Standard black. I do like the look of the fans, I do like that look. Then of course you got this then, which no, doesn't come off. But yeah, it's got a little display here. Obviously it's got the copper base, which is quite massive to be fair. The tubes, very nice tubes. Standard connections, PWM. So let's get into some of the specs. Now as for the actual socket support, it's 1851, 1700, 1150, X basically 1151 and 5, 2066, AM5 and AM4. Now as for the radiators, 394 by 120 by 27, standard radiator. The tube length is 400mm. The cold plate, which is by here, that is copper. It's aluminium radiator. The tube is rubber. Speed, which will be for the pump, is between 1500 and 3100 RPM, which has a ceramic bearing. 100,000 hours of life. Rated voltage is 12 volt with a rated current at 0.35 amps. The dimensions of the fans are 120 by 120 by 26.8. Okay, so not standard fans, a little bit thinner usually. No, a little bit thicker, I think. Yes, 25 is usually the standard. 60,000 hours they rate that for, with a speed at between 500 and 1800 RPM. 12 volts, the current is 0.08 amps with an airflow of 58.03 CFM. The start pressure is 2.4 millimeter H2O with a noise level of 23.46 decibels. Connectors are 4-pin and they say the TDPS is 390 watts. Wow. Okay, so installation is quite straightforward. These are the standoffs. As you can see, it comes with a thread here. That's for the nuts that you have to do to use when you mount it down. So all you do is you do it like that, you screw it down because there's threads there. All you do is 4 times and then you're done. Okay, so the next process now is grab this like this. Now as you can see, it only goes one way, and then you get this bracket here. Now it only goes this direction like this, and then it slides on like that. So what I want you to do is grab this here now. As that's done, place it down like this into the holes. Press down a little just so you can get the mounting done, and also it will stay in position. Then grab these are the hold down nuts by here. As you can see, it's a spring, and then obviously that's where it goes. So you set one side here. Now once it's done by finger tight, all you do is you grab a screwdriver and you start off with the first one you put on. So it's there, 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 there. Do the crisscross pattern until it's fully mounted down. It will just bottom out and then it's fine. Don't try to over tighten because it will damage something. Okay, so as you can see, 2 headers there. Now one but there, that one is for the AIO, or for the pump, which will be attached here, and this is what the pump header looks like. As you can see, it is a 4-pin PWM. So you just place it there. Now it only goes in one way, keyed, so you just go like this, and then that is done. Now with the fans, they do come with this extension cable here for the fans, but here as you can see, it is a daisy chain with a pigtail. So this is for the fans themselves, which will go into the CPU header, which as you can see is by there. That is the CPU header. The location on the pump as well as the CPU header is varies from motherboard for motherboard, because the layout isn't exactly the same from one motherboard brand to the other. So they'll be either located in this area here, or it will be located a bit toward this edge here. But what I want you to do is connect the fans up with the extension cable, and that's it for the fans. Now, as for the actual screen or the display, this is a USB 2.0 cable. This is what the connection is for the actual display, and the connector is down there. As you can see, it's silk screened onto the motherboard. It says F USB 2.0. This is where this header or this connector goes to. So usually it will have the USB 2.0 facing upwards. So you grab it, you put it down here, just like this, and that's connected. As for the installation, that is it. This is the ENERMAX LIQMAX 360. These are the fans at 50%. Quite quiet at 50%. This is at 100%. Definitely a lot louder. Sounds like a hum to me, but I don't know. Okay, so when it comes to the actual test system, well, it's my AM5 platform, so Ryzen 9 7900. It is a B850 motherboard from Sapphire. It's got 32 gigs of DDR5 from APSS. It's got a Gen 5 drive from Kingston, Gen 4 from Samsung, RX 7800 XT, and as well it's got a 1000 watt Colink power supply, and it's housed in the Be Quiet Shadowbase 800 FX case. Now, when it comes to the testing, the exact same random benchmarks I do, which is Cinebench, R23, Blend Pavilion, Blender Classroom, as well as 3DMark CPU2S. Why? Because each test hits the CPU differently. So, we'll start off with the 50%. Now, for the CPU power draw at high was 183 watts with a low at 172. The CPU clocks are high at 5.4 and low at 5.1. So, Cinebench R23, the idles are 28 with a max of 83. Blender Pavilion, idles 28 with a max of 81. Blender Classroom, idles 28 with a max of 80. And 3DMark CPU2S, the idles are 28 with a max of 68 Celsius. Okay, so when it comes to the 100% now, for the CPU power draw, it was slightly higher by 1 watt. It was a high at 184 watts with a low at 177. CPU clocks are exactly the same, high at 5.4, low at 5.1. Now, for the Cinebench R23, the idles were 1 degree higher, but that could be easily margin of error. That was 29 degrees, but the overall max was 78 Celsius. Blender Pavilion, the idle was 29 with a max of 76. Blender Classroom, idles were 29 with a max of 75 Celsius. And 3DMark CPU2S, the idles were 29 with a max of 63 Celsius. That is a significant drop in thermals. Now, what I'm going to show you by here is how this particular AIO performs against the other AIOs I have previously reviewed. That's going to include some deep cool. It's going to include the Thermalright ones. It's going to include any other AIO that I've previously reviewed, or the top ones, so you guys can get a good or a rough idea of how good this compares against the competition, because in the AIO market, the competition is severe. There is a lot of brands with AIOs out there. So make sure you continue to watch, as this is where the graphs are going to be showing for you. Okay, so should you buy it? Well, that's going to be up to you, really. Now, the price of this is £120. I think it's a little bit expensive, but that's my personal opinion, due to the fact that I have reviewed so many AIOs that the price range does range between the £50 to £60 mark all the way up to £400. That's from like stuff from ROG, from ASUS, and there's like NZXT AIOs are like £250. This one is definitely more down toward the mid-tier when it comes to AIOs in terms of pricing, but when it comes to the thermals, this thermally is one of the best. So they do get a good point there. I would have preferred a RGB version, but saying that, if you're looking for an AIO that's got no fluff, there's no RGB, no lighting, just has a little display to show you the temps of your CPU, GPU, and the RPM of your fans, then it's definitely a good AIO. If you don't want any of the RGB fluff or any of the nonsense with the lighting or the software or the RGB lighting, anything like that, and you just want an AIO that performs good and obviously looks decent as well, then this is definitely it. Yeah, I mean, it's probably the least RGB version of an AIO I have reviewed in a very long time. Well, actually, I guess the Deep Cool Spartacus would be one of them as well. But personally, I'm starting to go off RGB. I prefer the aesthetics personally, and if you're going for an all blacked out build, or you just want a very good performing AIO that will perform fantastically, but isn't going to break your bank or literally make you spend hundreds of pounds on something that performs as well, then this is definitely one that you should consider. Whether you buy it or not, that's going to be completely up to you. But what I would like to say to ENERMAX is I think it's a very good AIO. The performance is definitely there, even though I would have preferred an RGB version, but that's just me. But I do like the AIO, and it does get a recommendation from me. So yeah, look, I would like to say a big thank you to ENERMAX for the continuous support. I do appreciate it, and I do like working with them, so that's a good thing. I do also want to point out to you guys that this isn't me taking anything from the review. This is just me stating what I have got coming. So Saturday I've got a gaming laptop. I've got stuff here from Thermalright. I've got the A10 case. I've got the Levita 360. It's basically, I don't know, the Levita or something. It's a 360. This one's like the mirror version, the RGB. I've got the Frost Tower here because you guys requested that. I've got 2 gaming monitors. I've got loads of stuff here and stuff on the way. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as always, I hope you guys have a fantastic week and weekend ahead of you. This is Rich for WELSHYTECH. Goodbye.